Marco Rubio appeared to slip into damage control mode after earlier comments on war's conclusion were contradicted by Donald Trump.
Many Americans are asking, why did the United States have to attack Iran now? Well, let me explain. Iran wants to have nuclear weapons.
After this conflict is concluded, we are going to have to re-examine that relationship. We're going to have to re-examine the value of NATO and that alliance for our country.
Team Trump also looks increasingly rattled as multiple NATO allies have refused deeper involvement in the Iran war, signaling widening cracks. Reports indicate that Italy, Spain, France, and Poland have all resisted key US requests in different ways, from denying access and restricting air routes to refusing to redeploy critical defense assets.
Well, I can't comment on that other than to say that there's nothing any government is doing or any country in the world is doing now to help Iran that is in any way impeding our mission. Do they have countries that have helped them in the past? Yes, they have. I mean, and by the way, Iran also helps other countries. There are messages being exchanged. There are talks going on. There is the potential for direct meeting at some point. We're always going to be open for that. So I think there's no doubt, unfortunately, after this conflict is concluded, we are going to have to re-examine that relationship. We're going to have to re-examine the value of NATO and that alliance for our country. Ultimately, that's a decision for the president to make, and he'll have to make it. We're going to finish the job here. As I said, we're very, very close to achieving our objectives on all of these things that I've outlined. But I do think, unfortunately, we are going to have to re-examine whether or not this alliance that has served this country well for a while is still serving that purpose, or is it now become a one-way street where America is simply in a position to defend Europe, but when we need the help of our allies, they're going to deny us basing rights and they're going to deny us overflight. It's only been 3 months. What's been achieved in Venezuela in just 3 months is nothing short of extraordinary. Ultimately, there will have to be a transition phase. There will have to be free and fair elections in Venezuela, and that point has to come. And that has to, it's not forever, but we have to be patient, but we also can't be complacent. And so I feel very good about the progress we've made in Venezuela in 3 months, and all the doomsdayers that were saying after Maduro was taken prisoner, as he should have been, and brought to justice. So I think Cuba's in need of two things, economic reforms and political reform. You cannot fix their economy if you don't change their system of government. And but they're in a lot of trouble. There's no doubt about it. And, we'll have more news on that fairly soon. We're working on that as well.
Many Americans are asking, why did the United States have to attack Iran now? Well, let me explain. Iran wants to have nuclear weapons. Of that, there is zero doubt. If what they truly wanted, which is what they claim, is nuclear energy, well, they could have nuclear energy like all the other countries in the world have it, and that is you import the fuel and you build reactors above ground. That's not what Iran has done. They build their reactors and their facilities deep in mountains, away from the public glare, and they want to enrich that material. The same equipment that they could use to enrich material for energy, they could use to quickly enrich it to weapons grade. So it is clear that they've been offered every opportunity to have a nuclear program that allows them to have energy, not weapons, and every single time they have turned it down. But why the attack now? Well, what was Iran trying to do? Iran was trying to build a conventional shield, in essence, have so many missiles, have so many drones that no one could attack them, and they were well on their way. We were on the verge of an Iran that had so many missiles and so many drones that no one could do anything about their nuclear weapons program in the future. That was an intolerable risk. Under no circumstances can a country run by radical Shia clerics with an apocalyptic vision of the future ever possess nuclear weapons. And under no circumstances can they be allowed to hide and protect that program and their ambitions behind a shield of missiles and drones that no one can do anything about. This was our last best chance to eliminate that conventional threat, that conventional shield that they were trying to build, and the president made the right decision to wipe it out now. That is the goal of this operation, to destroy their conventional missiles and their drone program so they can't hide behind it and finally have to deal with the world seriously about never, ever having nuclear weapons.
Trump's remarks appear to undercut Rubio's stance, adding to signs of mixed messaging on Iran. Within hours of Rubio's Hormuz comments, Trump offered a conflicting line on the issue. Trump spoke out as reports emerged of a major Arab oil tanker being hit near Dubai. Trump now signals he could accept ending the war with Iran even if Hormuz stays closed. The tanker attack has cast serious doubt on Trump's claim that Iran was gifting ship passage.
They're going to make a deal. They did something yesterday that was amazing, actually. They gave us a present, and the present arrived today. And it was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money.
Inside the US government, differing messages have emerged over how to handle the Strait of Hormuz, adding to confusion as the conflict with Iran continues. The Wall Street Journal reported that Donald Trump told advisors he is willing to end the Iran campaign even if the vital waterway remains closed. According to the same reporting, Trump is prepared to postpone any large or complex military operation aimed at forcibly reopening the strait. Officials quoted by the Wall Street Journal said Trump might revive Operation Epic Fury, a plan to reopen the strait, but only at a later stage. In contrast, the US Secretary of State has publicly insisted that Washington will ensure the Strait of Hormuz is reopened, whatever the cost. Speaking to Al Jazeera, Senator Marco Rubio echoed that hard line, saying the strait would be reopened one way or another. During the ongoing war, Iran has effectively choked off traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, a route that handles about 1/5 of the world's traded oil. Rubio also dismissed Iran's demand for formal sovereignty over the strait in any future agreement, calling it unacceptable for the US and its partners.
It's important to remember the objectives of this operation from the very beginning. We are destroying Iran's navy. We are destroying their ability to their missile launchers by a significant percentage. We're going to wipe out their defense industrial base. There is a way forward here to achieve our objectives. We are going to achieve our objectives in a matter of weeks, not months.
Well, but let's talk about taking the oil, because the president laid out that objective last night. And taking the oil will take ground troops, won't it?
Well, again, the Iranians are threatening that they're going to set up some permanent system in the Straits of Hormuz where they get to decide who goes through international waterways. That will never be allowed to happen. By the way, the rest of the world should take note of that. They have more at stake there than we do. The president has several options at his disposal, and the Department of War is preparing optionality for the president for this and various other contingencies that might arise. That's what always needs to happen in situations like this.
A large Kuwaiti oil tanker was struck off the coast near Dubai on March 31st, in what officials described as a suspected Iranian attack on the vessel. Authorities in Kuwait reported that their crude carrier Al Salmi came under attack while it was anchored close to Dubai port. The Kuwait Petroleum Corporation condemned the incident, calling it a direct and criminal act against one of its tankers. KPC said the Al Salmi was fully loaded with crude oil when it was hit, increasing concern over the possible impact of the strike. The strike caused visible damage to the ship's hull and started a fire on board, which crews and responders then moved to control. Kuwaiti officials warned that the damage raised the risk of an oil spill in nearby waters and said the situation was being closely monitored. The state news agency CUNA reported that specialist teams had begun assessing the scale of the damage to the tanker. KPC confirmed that no crew members or other personnel were reported killed or injured in the incident. Officials said emergency response units were on site to put out the fire and take steps to limit any potential oil leak. The attack has heightened worries about environmental harm in the heavily used shipping lanes and coastal areas near Dubai. Kuwaiti authorities added that a detailed technical inspection of the tanker was continuing to determine the full extent of the damage. Kuwait's armed forces said their air defense systems have been activated to respond to what they described as hostile missile attacks targeting the country. In additional online statements, Kuwaiti forces reported they were also dealing with hostile drones detected in their airspace. Officials in Kuwait described these developments as a serious security threat to the country's critical energy facilities and wider infrastructure.